So hello, welcome back to the last part of performance management in this subject human resource management. This is the third part of performance management where we are going to discuss about different methods of performance appraisal. All the topics that we are going to discuss in today's class are mentioned here for your reference. Now let's get into the class. So before directly entering into today's class, let us have a quick recap of what all we have been doing in the last two parts of performance management. See, in the first part of performance management, we have started about performance management, the process of performance management and all these things, right? And then we moved on to the second part of the performance management where we discussed about performance appraisal in detail, in particular. That means we looked after the different basics. What do you mean by performance appraisal? What are the different activities involved in performance appraisal? The history and evolution of performance appraisal. What is the process of performance appraisal? And we also looked after the connection between the process of performance appraisal and the process of performance management as a whole, right? Now we also looked after certain different other basics, telling that what are the different errors that that have a chance of occurrence while giving performance appraisal and all these things. And we concluded the second part of performance management there. Now today, in the last class of performance management, that is the last part of performance management, we are going to discuss about the different methods of performance appraisal. So to give you a basic glimpse of what all we are going to discuss today, see, we are basically going to discuss in simple terms the different methods of performance appraisal, right? Now let us understand certain basics relating to these different methods of performance appraisal, right? Now see, while talking about performance appraisal, we told that, see, basically performance appraisal is a result of an annual or a semi-annual process, leave that, where an employer evaluates, that means he measures, compares and all these things. He does this relating to the performance of the employee, and he uses that information that he gets from the evaluation, and he basically uses that information to communicate to the employee if any improvements are necessary or not, where improvements are necessary, what improvements are necessary. This is the basic concept of performance appraisal that we have discussed in the last class, right? Now this evaluation part is there, right, where the performance of the actual performance of the employee is taken into consideration, and the pre communicated performance standards are taken into consideration. Both of them are compared. In this way all these things are done. The evaluation part is there, right? So basically any organization uses different methods in order to do all these activities related to performance appraisal, which are basically the methods of performance appraisal. That means there are so many different methods through which this particular performance appraisal can be done. Now it is in the decision or in the choice of the organization to choose whichever method it is feasible to it, or whichever method that particular organization thinks, okay, this is suitable for our organization, this is suitable for our present situation. And also the methods of performance appraisal that we choose also vary based on the job or based on the position of the employee, position that the employee is holding. Okay, so basically in any organization there are so many different performance appraisal methods that the organization can use. Now these all different performance appraisal methods are basically categorized into three different groups. Okay, now the first the first group of performance appraisal methods are entirely based on personality characteristics. That means all the methods that use basically or mainly personality characteristics come into this first group. Now what do you mean by personality characteristics? See, we will be dealing about what do you mean by personality and what do you mean by personality characteristics when we go to organizational behavior subject. But to give you a simple idea, personality characteristics means all the things like reliability, sincerity, time management, communication, all these things, right? Okay, so there are certain methods which basically operate on personality characteristics. So all those methods are grouped together, and that is the first group. Now that is the first group of performance appraisal methods, right? Now there is the second group of performance appraisal methods which completely depend on, or which completely focus on the behaviors exhibited by the employee. Okay, these are, so basically all the methods which basically operate on, or which basically focus on the different behaviors exhibited by the employee are grouped together, and that is the second group. Okay, second group of performance appraisal methods. Now we have a third group of performance appraisal methods whose main focus is the results, the output generated by the employee. Okay, so basically there are so many different performance appraisal methods, and all those methods are classified or categorized into three main groups. The first groups are generally referred as the methods which use personality characteristics. The second group of methods are generally referred as the methods which use behaviors, and the third group of performance appraisal methods are the methods which are generally termed as the methods which use the results. Okay, now let's see what are the different methods included in each of the group. So today's topic, performance appraisal methods. I told you, right, there are so many different methods categorized into three groups. The first methods are called as trait methods, methods which completely focus on personality traits. The second group of methods are called as behavioral methods, that is the methods which completely focus or completely depend on employee behaviors. And the third group of methods are called as results methods, which completely focus on or which completely use or depend on the results produced by the employees. Okay. Now keep the point in mind that I already told you, which method to use. It depends on the organization's decision or organization choice, and it also varies on from different job to job. Okay. Now the different kinds of methods that are included in this group of trait methods are graphic rating scale, mixed standard scale, forced choice rating scale, essay method. Now if you verify or if you refer from different sources, you'll also be having another method called as forced distribution curve method. Instead of this forced choice rating scale, I'll also be giving you a simplified explanation for that. So these are basically the trait methods. And under behavioral methods, you will be having something called as critical incident method. You will be having something called as behavioral checklist method. You will be having something called as BARS, behaviorally anchored rating scale method. You'll also be having something called as BOS, behavioral observation scale. And next, you'll also be having an important thing which is called as 360-degree appraisal. Okay, there is also this 720 degrees appraisal and all these things. We'll not be talking about that. I'll just give you a basic explanation relating to that. And moving to the results method, in this group of results method, we have productivity measures, we have MBO, which is management by objective, and we also have something called as balance scorecard method. So these are all the different methods that we are going to discuss in today's class. Don't worry that there are so many different methods. I have basically included images for each and every method, how actually these methods are implemented, or how are these methods used in real life. So as an easy topic, a bit lengthy but a very easy topic, let's get started. So the first method in trait methods, we are going to start with trait methods, and the first method is graphic rating scale. Before directly explaining, let's concentrate on the images. Okay. So graphic rating scale. See, this is how actually a graphic rating scale looks like. Okay. Let me highlight. You'll not be having heading telling that this is graphic rating scale in most of the cases, but some people include the names also. So basically, graphic rating scale sheet looks like this, where you'll be having certain basic details telling that the employee name. For example, I am the employer and you are the employee. Okay. Now here I'll be including the basic details like employee name, his department, his particular department, his job title. For example, if I am using this particular graphic scale rating method in order to if I'm using basically this method in order to do the performance appraisal and all these things, what I'll do, just to tell that this particular sheet belongs to you, I'll fill in your basic details, your name, your department that you belong to, your job title, if you're a manager, if you are a salesperson, the sales executive or sales associated in this way. And next the important thing is, in graphic rating scale, you will be having personality characteristics or personality traits. See, I already told you what are basically personality characteristics or personality traits, and I also told you that this entire group of methods basically depend on or are basically using personality characteristics. Now see, in graphic scale rating method, you will be having on one column, you will be having all the personality characteristics, and the row, on the row you will be having different degrees, like for example, see, these are all the personality characteristics. Okay. Now these are the different degrees, poor, fairly good, excellent. In this way you can fix different degrees. Now if, let's take sincerity. Let's consider this particular sincerity personality characteristic. Now if I think that you are not at all sincere to to your work, or to the organization and all these things, I'll just tick here telling that okay, you're poor. But if I think that you are excellent in terms of sincerity, I'll just tick here. Okay. This is basically a graphic scale rating method in simple terms. Now let's look at the explanation. Each trait is listed, okay, in this way, in this column, and each trait is represented by a scale on which the rater indicates the degree to which an employee possesses the trait or characteristic. Okay. Now see, let me give you this simple point, basic point, important point. Now since in this particular image, or in this particular example that we have taken, we have considered the same scale. That means the scales are same. Each and every scale has the same degrees: poor, fairly good, and excellent. For that means in this particular example, in this particular image, for each and every personality trait, we are considering a single scale. There will also be situations where you can use different scales for different personality characteristics. For example, for attendance, I can have this particular scale, and when it comes to the second, if I take all these personality characteristics as same as they are. Now, if I take attendance as my first personality characteristics, I can use this particular scale. And if I'll put like number 2, and my number 2, personality characteristics is behavior towards subordinates. Now, I can have the same scale, or I can prepare a different scale for this behavior towards subordinates, personality characteristics. So this is basically graphic rating scale. So basically, the performance appraisal is given based on this. That means, the communication that happens in the performance appraisal review session is based on this particular sheet, based on all the information that is present in the sheet. Okay, this is basically graphic rating scale, the first method of performance appraisal methods, which comes in the group of trait methods. Okay, now moving on to the second method, which is mixed. We have just covered graphic rating scale. The second method is mixed standard scale. Now, you may be seeing so many different similarities between the first method and the method that we are going to discuss. That means, between graphic scale rating or graphic rating scale and this particular mixed standard scale. See, here, instead of putting a scale to each trait, the trait is listed and 3 dimensions are given to each trait and the rater rates it. Now, see, can you see it? Wait. Okay, so basically this is how a wait okay, so this is how a mixed standard scale looks like. So basically this is the sheet of mixed standard scale. You'll be you'll be having the heading telling that this is an employee performance appraisal. You'll be having company name. See, there are certain things which are common for each and every performance appraisal method. Like, you'll be having the company name, you will be having certain headings, and you will be having, this thing, the basic employee details, and in the end you will be having the basic employer details, and you'll also be having space for comments. These things are common for each and every, almost each and every, performance appraisal method that we take. Okay, so this is how basically a mixed standard scale look like. What we have just seen in the theory telling that, here instead of, providing a single scale to each and every, personality trait, here we are telling that there is only one scale for each and every. That means for all the personality traits there will be only one scale, and that particular scale will be having 3 dimensions. Now these 3 dimensions may be superior, average, inferior, or negative, neutral, positive, or -1, 0, +1. Okay, in this way, it depends on the organization's choice or decision. So basically here we have to remember telling that there will be 3 dimensions. Okay, now, and along with 3 dimensions you'll only be having a single scale for each and every personality trait. Right, now see here, the basic scale looks like this. Put an X in the area which describes the employee's performance. Okay, so basically you can put an X or a tick or whatever it is. So basically these are the personality traits or personality characteristics, and this is the scale, and this particular scale is common for each and every personality trait here. For example, let's consider initiative taking as my personality characteristic. If I think he's above average, I'll tick here. If I think he's average, I'll tick here. If I think he's below expectations, I'll tick here. Okay, so these are the 3 dimensions. See, this one is a bit positive thing, this is a neutral, and this is a negative thing. Okay, so in this way you will be having 3 dimensions. So, and if there are any comments that the appraiser want to mention, you can actually write here in the comment section. Okay, now the third method, okay, the third method in this particular group of trait methods under the total concept or the total topic of performance appraisal methods is forced choice method. Now it requires the rater to choose from statements, often in pairs that are equally favorable or equally unfavorable. Now, in this method, the rater is actually forced to choose between different things, which are either, both of them are positive, or either both of them are negative. Like for example, see, let's take this first option. You'll be having the first option as works hard, and you'll be having the second option as works quickly. Now both of them are positive statements, right? This employee works hard, this employee works quickly. Both of them are positive statements. Now the rater is forced to choose between these two things. You'll also be, these are equally favorable. Now let's look at equally unfavorable, telling that there will be a second question telling that choose among the following, choose the most appropriate one, or basically choose the most accurate one. Okay, so first option will be produces poor quality, and second thing is lacks good habits. Now both of them are equally unfavorable, right? Now the rater is forced to choose between these two, right? That means he has to make a decision telling that okay, he must be either one of these two, because he doesn't have an option of telling yes, both of them are suitable or both of them are not suitable. Okay, so basically this is forced choice method. In some sources, as I already discussed, you will be having another method which is called as the forced distribution curve, which basically looks like this. You will be having an axis and you will be having a curve which tells that which will tell that, this is below average and this is above average and this is average, and place the employee in, in either of the areas here. In this way you will be having a method called as post distribution curve method, which we will not be talking. That's also a very simple topic. Okay, now next, the last method in the trait methods, among the topic performance appraisal methods, is SA method. Now, it requires the rater, the person who is, giving rating. It requires the rater to compose a statement about the employee's behavior. It is difficult because it may not be easy to include all the traits in a single statement. It is generally combined with other scales. Now, what do you mean by this? See, this is how basically a SA method looks like. Now, what is this SA method? In this SA method, the rater has to present an essay or a paragraph or a statements relating to personality traits, related to the particular employee. Now, why did we tell that this is, difficult thing? For example, if there are like only 2 or 3 employees in my organization, for which, the rater has to provide, performance appraisal. Okay, so this, then in that particular case this method is easy, because SA method you have to write 2 to 3 different lines. There are only 2 to 3 different employees. Now what will you do if they are like 400 to 500 different employees, and you have to use this SA method? Now is it, easy to, write each and every point, right? Paragraphs and paragraphs for 400 500 different employees. There will be certain cases where you will get fed up, because you have to keep on writing, because the writing part is so much, and there is also a chance that you may forget certain things that you have to include, but you did not, that, but due to the workload or due to this excessive writing, you may have forgotten that. So in this way, this method is generally considered as a difficult one. So what they'll do is, generally this SA method is there, right? This SA method is generally used as the backup method along with other different methods. That means, for example, they can be organizations which can use, graphic scale rating method as the primary method, and an SA method as a backup or a supportive method which supports this thing. Okay, now this is how basically a, SA method looks like. I told you some things are common for each and every performance appraisal method. You'll be having, the basic headings, you'll be having the employees details, you'll be having the employers details, and all these things. Here I did, here basically, the comment section is not mentioned, because, here only you will be having all the comment section for each and every personality traits. And also in some, some organizations, basically most of the organizations, they include a comment section here also, because there may be certain other comments that, that you want to give, but you don't have, any place. For example, if you have certain general comment that you want to make regarding the employee, and if you write it in any one of these personality traits, it will be irrelevant, right? So basically you'll also be having a comment section here. Okay, now this is basically how an SA method looks like. Okay, now, so we have, completed the trait methods. So we have talked about the methods which completely depend on, or which completely use personality traits. We told that there are 4 basic trait methods. The first one is called as a graphic scale rating method, or a graphic rating scale method. The second one is called as a fixed standard scale. The third one is called as a forced choice, rating method, and the fourth one is called as an SA method. Okay, now let's look at the behavioral methods. That means the performance appraisal methods which completely focus on behaviors. The first method that we are going to discuss in, behavioral methods of the performance appraisal methods main topic is critical incident method. Now before going into this directly into these behavioral methods, you need to understand what is a critical incident. Okay, see, basically critical incidents are all the incidents that, that exhibit unusual success or unusual failure or unexpected behaviors, or something new, or a new behavior. Okay, for example, see, if there, for example, if there is this employee who is very calm, who is very polite, or that means who is very soft talking to each and everyone, and suddenly on a particular day in an office he starts screaming at its, subordinates or superiors something. Okay, so he starts screaming, and people or the employees have never seen him in that way, because never seen him that angry, that unpolite and all these things. So those kind of situations are generally regarded as critical, incidents. Now this is a negative situation. Let's look at a positive situation. For example, each and every employee in the organization has been given the fire safety drill. That means in case of fire accidents, please follow this procedure. Please find your nearest exit. Please use the fire extinguishers and all these things. And for example, on a one particular day, fire broke out in the organization, and you are an employer, and you have been observing, that means you are taking care of each and everything, but you have observed this one particular employee who is searching for a fire extinguisher and all these things, instead of just randomly running here and there where each and every other person is randomly running. But this person, this particular employee, he's first logically he's thinking where is the fire extinguisher and all these things. He is searching for fire extinguisher. You have basically observed that. Now that is basically a critical incident method where an unusual behavior or an unexpected behavior basically occurs. Okay, now this is a positive incident. Now these kind of incidents are basically noted down in a diary by the manager or the employer. Okay, and while giving the performance appraisal, they will take out this diary and they will also include the things that they have written in this particular diary while giving the performance appraisal. This is basically what do you mean by a critical incident. That means a sudden behavior or an unexpected behavior or an unexpected success or an unexpected failure. In the previous example we told that this fire broke out, right? Now consider that the fire is very huge and you thought that okay, we can't control all these things, so it is better to run away from here. But you saw this one employee who, instead of running away, that means who broke the general pattern of running away, but he logically stood there and he is still, instead of running away for his life, he is still thinking out how to stop this fire and all these things. In this way, unexpected success or unexpected failure or unexpected behaviors and all these things are generally referred as critical incidents. And all those type of critical incidents are generally noted down by the manager in a particular diary, and while giving performance appraisal, this diary is also included. Okay, this is basically the basic theme behind this method of critical incident method. Okay, now see, a critical incident occurs when employee behavior results in an unusual success or unusual failure in some part of the job. Okay, now the manager keeps a log or a diary for each employee throughout the appraisal period and notes down specific critical incidents related to how well they perform. This, see, in these lines, in these, in these 4 lines, we are just talking in, job point of view or performance point of view. Now, I also discussed about some examples which relate to behavior point of view. So, in workplace, in the organization, whenever unexpected behavior occurs, unexpected success, failure in terms of, performance or any in terms of behaviors also, they are considered as critical incidents. Now, when completing the appraisal form, the manager refers to the critical incident log and uses this information to substantiate an employee's rating of the appraisal. Okay, so while giving appraisal, these critical incidents are also considered. Okay, this is basically the critical incident method. Now let's move on to the next method, which is called as the behavioral checklist method. See, behavioral checklist method. It is a checklist with a list of statements related to the employee behavior. Okay, so basically we told that these entire group of methods, the behavioral methods, basically focus on or basically depend on behaviors, right? Now here also, in this particular method called as behavioral checklist method, you will be having a checklist where the employer is required to check out each and every item that he thinks apps or suits. But basically here you will be having all those statements, all those items that are provided in order to check related to behaviors. Now here what we'll do, here we will take something called as behavioral criterion. They are simply like the personality characteristics, but for each and every behavioral criterion, for example, if there is communication, okay, when we talk about trait methods, we will consider communication as a single personality trait, but here in this kind of messages we are actually discussing in behavioral point of view, right? So we'll take that communication and we will list out different statements related to behavior. Okay, and then we will provide checklist boxes and we'll ask the basically the rater is required to check each and every box which he thinks or he believes or he feels like this is apt to the employee, so I have to check this. This is not apt to the employee, I will either cross this or I'll just leave it blank in this way. Okay, so basically this is how a behavioral checklist method looks like. Now see, here in this particular in this particular example we have taken, see, here also you will be having all the things common, right? That means you will be having certain headings, you will be having the details of the employee, and below you will be having space for comments, you will be having the details of the employer, and all these things are common, but I have not mentioned them. So basically, see, this is how a behavioral checklist method looks like. We have taken, in this example we have taken the first behavioral criterion as communication, and these are all the behaviors which are related to this particular behavioral criterion of communication. That means these are, for example, listens well and understands the needs of customers and others. If I think that apps, this particular statement apps, I will just take it. If I think this particular statement doesn't app, I will just cross it or I will just leave it blank in this way. Okay, now this is the method of behavioral checklist, and now let's move to the one of the most important method of performance appraisal, one of the most used performance appraisal method, which is BARS, behaviorally anchored rating scale. Now let's look at what do you mean by this method and what generally happens in this method and how basically this method is used. The behaviorally anchored rating scale bars. Okay. So basically in this method, these are basically scales. Okay. See, this is basically the scale. Not only this, the entire thing. Okay. Now let me explain you what is this method and what happens. Listen carefully. Very important method. Very easy method if you understand. See, this is basically scale. Okay. This is basically considered as a scale in this particular method. Now you will be having like five, basically 5 or 10 vertical scales. That means you, for one behavioral criterion you will be having this one. For similarly for second behavioral criterion, like this only you will be having the second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one, like you will be having 5 to 10 different vertical scales. And for each for each behavioral criterion, that means in each scale you will be having either a 5 point or a 7 point or a 9 point generally. That means, see, in this scale you are having 5 points, right? 1 2 3 4 5. Generally, normally in this particular method you will be having either a 5 or a 7 or a 9 point. That means basically this method uses 5 or 7 or 9 pointer scales generally, with a maximum deviation not exceeding 1.5. Now what do I mean by maximum deviation not exceeding 1.5? That means, see, what is the difference between 1 and 2? 1. 2 and 3, 1. 3 and 4, 1. 4 and 5, 1. That means, the difference between each and every point shall not exceed 1.5. Okay. So this particular method uses scales which are either 5 or 7 or 9 pointer scales with a maximum deviation not exceeding 1.5. These are objective bits that you have to keep in your mind. Okay. Now let's look at the each of the scale in detail. So as I already told you, right, 5, 7 or 9 pointer scales, right? Let me erase this. So in this particular example, let's consider the behavioral criterion as following superior order. So we have just considered a 5 pointer scale, okay, with a maximum deviation of 1. See, basically this maximum deviation thing, 5 point, 7 pointer, 9 pointer, doesn't matter, but there is a chance that in some objective kind of examinations they may ask this. Okay, so just for that sake, try to remember that. Okay. So basically, let us consider that there is this particular behavioral criterion called as following superior orders, and for that particular behavioral criterion we have used this particular scale. Now we told that we will be using a 5 pointer scale. Now what is the basic difference between this behavioral anchored rating scale and all the other methods is, for each and every pointer, see, for example, let's consider the previous methods that we have discussed. Let's take graphic rating scale. Okay, there what we did, we had on one column we have all personality characteristics, and we have different scales, right? There the scales represent only certain values. Okay, like certain degrees of the certain degrees of that particular personality characteristic, right? Now in this particular methods of behaviorally anchored rating scale, instead of just having different degrees, you will be having detailedly described or detailedly explained critical incidents, or detailedly explained different behaviors. This may be either critical incidents or this may be general normal behaviors, but for each and every pointer you will be having a separate assigned detailedly described situation, detailed described for example, here we took the behavioral criterion of following superior orders. So related to the following the particular following superior orders, you will be having 5 different behaviors related to this particular criterion that we have taken, the first criterion. Okay, now see, this is an example, and the behavioral criterion here is following superior order. So on the first pointer, that means for the for this rating, for the rating of 1, I have included the behavior telling that sometimes fails to follow doctor's orders, often impatient with difficult patients, doesn't always follow hospital procedures. So this is the definition, this is basically the behavior that I have assigned to the one pointer number 1 in this particular scale. Okay, now let's consider pointer number 2. Okay, always follows doctor's orders, occasionally impatient with difficult patients, rarely doesn't follow a hospital procedure. So this is the detailedly explained behavior that I have associated with the point number 2. Now similarly, I'll be having third point, I'll be having fourth point, I'll be having fifth point. On fifth point, I'll be having always follows doctor's orders, available to meet with doctors whenever needed, never impatient with difficult patients, helps other nurses with difficult patients, always follows hospital procedures, eases patients' fears. In this way, for number 1, the first behavioral criterion, I have chosen this particular 5-point rating scale, and for each and every point I have associated a particular behavior related to this particular behavioral criterion in a very detailed defined way. Now similarly, for second behavioral criterion also I will be having a scale like this. For third behavioral criterion also I will be having a scale like this, right? Now at last, I will be adding all the scores. For example, in this first behavioral criterion, if I think that the fifth one is the most accurate one that represents the employee, I will choose 5 here. For example, in the second one, if I think the first option is appropriate or accurate one, I will choose that. In the third, for the third behavioral criterion, if I choose option number 2, or the scale, the scale or the value number 2 is the most appropriate, I'll choose 2 then. In this way, at the end, what I'll do is I'll add each and every pointer. For example, here I chose 5, and for the next behavioral criterion I chose 1. I'll add them both, and for the third behavioral criterion I chose 2. I will keep on adding all these numbers, and finally I will arrive to a value, right? Based on that value, the performance appraisal takes on, telling that okay, you have scored this much on this particular behavioral anchored scale. So this is your performance, and we are impressed by your performance, we are not impressed by your performance, in this way. So basically this is behaviorally anchored rating scale. Now see, all these things, all these things are basically obtained from job analysis. Okay, so let's look at the theory of this. See, behaviorally anchored rating scale consists of a series of 5 to 10 vertical scales, one for each important dimension of the performance identified through job evaluation. Okay, so basically it will have, this entire image is for one scale. Okay, you'll be having similarly 5 to 10 vertical scales, one for each dimension, performance dimension identified from job analysis. Okay, now see, all the behavior criterion are there, right? Here number 1 is following superior, right? Orders and all these things. Number 2 is something other, number 3 is something other. In this way, all the behaviors related criterion are there, right? They are basically identified through job analysis, and these particular statements are also most of the time are come from job analysis, or in sometimes they are critical incidents which also come from job analysis. Okay, so these dimensions are anchored by behaviors identified through a critical incident job analysis. I told you, right? Now, the critical incidents are placed along the scale and assigned point values. Okay, so for on the scale they will be placing these critical incidents, or basically behavior related detailed descriptions, and they will be assigned pointer values. Now this is basically the method of behaviorally anchored rating scale. Very important method. Okay, now this is one of the most used method in organizations for performance appraisal. Okay, now moving on to the next method, which is called as behavioral observation scale, BOS. Okay, it is similar to bars. It is similar to the previous one, as both of them are based on critical incidents. But rather than asking the evaluator to choose the most representative behavioral anchor, a BOS is designed to measure how frequently each of the behavior has been observed. This is a very simple thing. See, for example, what we did in BARS, bars, we told that choose the most accurate or most appropriate or most suitable behavioral statement or critical incident, right? Now here in this next method, instead of asking the rater to choose the most appropriate one, we are basically asking him how many times will he be repeating that particular behavior. Okay, now I'll show you the diagram and you'll just understand it. See, in behavioral observation scale, it basically looks like that. I am again telling you there are certain things that I have not mentioned here, which are common for each and every performance appraisal method, like the headings, name of the employee, name of the employer or the rater, and you'll also be having space for comments and each and everything. And I'm also measuring, I'm also mentioning only one. For example, here I am only mentioning sales productivity. Previously also I have only mentioned one, following superior orders. Previously also I have mentioned only one behavioral criterion called as communication. So this is just for example. So I'm giving you simple basic understanding, like if you consider a thing like this, you will be having scales like this. Similarly, you will be having different things with different scales. Okay, so this particular behavioral observation scales looks like this. See, we have considered the behavioral criterion of sales productivity. So within sales productivity, you will be having so many different behaviors, right? Now you will be having two kind of measurement scales here. This is the first one and this is the second one. Okay, so this is the first one, this is the second one. Now see, these are the different behaviors that are included with that are associated with this behavioral criterion called sales productivity, right? This is just for an example, sales productivity. So let us take this particular behavior, keeps account plans updated. Okay, keep accounts plans updated. Now come to this particular table, the second table. Now, this particular second table tells that if he does this, that means if he exhibits this particular behavior, that means if he keeps account plans updated 0 to 64% of the time, give him 1 here, give him 1. If you think almost 90 to 100% each and every time he keeps the account plans updated, give him 5. That means if I think that okay, he keeps the accounts plans updated 95 to 100% of time, this particular second table tells that you have to give him 5, right? So I will come to here and I will just give him 5. Okay, I'll tick him, or I'll circle him, whatever it is. So I'll tick it, or I'll circle it, or whatever it is. So basically this is how a behavioral observation scale is. So basically this gives you the frequency of the behavior that is exhibited, unlike bars. Okay, so this is basically behavioral observation scale. Now let's look at the last behavioral method, behavioral performance appraisal method, which is called as a 360-degree appraisal. Now always remember, 360 degrees appraisal is given by a person called as Marshall Goldsmith. Okay, an important objective bit. Now what do you mean by 360 degrees appraisal? 360 degrees appraisal is nothing but getting appraisals from 360 degrees. Now instead of explaining all these things, let me give you a simple example, basic understanding about this 360 degrees method. See, basically, if you are an employee, okay, if you are an employee in an organization, and if my organization, or if our organization uses this particular 360 degrees appraisal, let me tell you how this 360 degrees appraisal works. Now you stand in the middle of an imaginary circle. Okay, now stand in the middle, you are standing there. Now the first and foremost appraisal that you get from is yourself, that is self appraisal, that is you appraise yourself. Okay, that is the first thing, first appraisal that you get. Now who you are an employee, right? Who are above you? Your superiors, right? Now you get appraisal from your superiors. Now who are below you? Okay, just try to represent this in your brain. You are in the middle. Now you gave appraisal to yourself, this is your self appraisal. Now who are above you? Your superiors, they will give you appraisal. Now who are below you? Your subordinates, they'll also give you appraisal. Who will be along you and who will be working with you as a team? Your teammates and your peers, both of them will be giving appraisals. Now you'll also be getting appraisals from your your suppliers, your customers, your vendors. So you will be getting appraisals from each and everyone around you. That is basically 360 degrees appraisal. That is what, see, 360 degrees appraisal basically means appraisal from self, you, superior above you, subordinate below you, teams and peers with you and work along with you. You have customers, you have suppliers, and you have vendors. Okay, now there is this thing called a 720 degrees appraisal, which we will not be talking. That is basically 2 times of 360 degrees appraisal. That means you will be having appraisals from each and everyone that we have mentioned in 360 degrees appraisal, and along with that you will be also having appraisals relating to your performance, that means relating to your results. Okay, that is basically in simple terms 720 degrees appraisal. Now we have completed here behavioral methods. That means we started with personality trait methods, that means methods which basically focus on traits, personality traits. Now then we moved on to behavioral methods, that means the methods which basically focus on which function using certain behaviors. Now we are moving to the third group of performance appraisal methods, that is the methods which use results in order to which help the appraisal in further. Now what are the different what are the different methods which come under this results methods group are? The first one is productivity measures. Productivity measures is simply but evaluating based on your outcome, based on your what are the different the results that you have produced. For example, see, for example, you are a sales guy, and based on the number of sales that you have done, your appraisal your appraisal will continue. So basing on your outcome, this particular productivity measures appraisal method functions. Now moving on to the next method of this particular performance appraisal method in this group of results method is management by objectives. Now management by objectives is another very important or most commonly used performance appraisal method in organizations. Now you have to remember this particular management management by objective methods is given by a person called as Peter F. Drucker in 1954. Another important objective bit. Now basically in simple terms, management by objective method, performance appraisal method is a method where the employer and the employee sit together and they mutually communicate and mutually agree upon the targets, and then the employee starts working. For example, if I'm the employer and you are the employee, now I will call you to my cabin, or basically we both will meet and we will communicate. I will be telling that, okay, how many units of mobiles can you produce? Now you will be giving a number, I will be giving a number, we both will negotiate, or simply you will be giving a number and I may agree, or basically I may not agree, telling that, okay, that is a very low number, you have to increase the number. In this way, basically we both mutually agree to one particular target. In this way, see here in this particular example, in this particular situational discussion that we just discussed as an example, here we only talked about number of units that you can produce. In this way, there are so many different targets or different things that we'll mutually agree upon, and all those things are noted down. And after the performance period finishes, and when we start the performance appraisal process, then we will be discussing upon entirely upon what are the standards that we have mutually agreed upon, and what are the actual performances. So that is basically, here also you will basically be having a checklist type of thing, where all the targets that have been mutually communicated and that are assigned to you are basically listed, and you will be having two different columns telling that did he meet the target, yes, did he not meet the target, or did he meet the target, yes, no, or you'll be having two boxes telling that he met the targets, he did not meet the targets. In this way, you'll be having this method of management by objective. So performance appraisal using this method operates in this way. Now see, the manager and the employee both mutually agree on certain goals, and appraisal is done on how well the employee is successful in attaining those targets. Okay, so this is also just an example. You'll be having, I'm again telling you, you'll be having certain basic things that I have not mentioned here. So a sample MBO method for a project manager, you'll be having, see, project completed on time, project completed on budget, 360 review team scores 3 or higher. In this way, you will be having so many different different targets, and you will be having two different boxes telling that, two different kinds of boxes telling that he met, did not meet. For example, if they consider this particular target, 360 review team scores 3 or high, if yes, you will be ticking here, if no, you will be ticking here. Okay, now this is basically the method of management by objectives. Now let's move on to the last method of today's topic, which is performance appraisal methods. That means a last method in the results method group of the entire performance appraisal method, which is called as the balanced scorecard. Now I think when we move on to the subject of human resource development, we will be having a detailed topic relating to this balance scorecard. That is the reason why I'm not explaining this balance scorecard in detail here, because we will be having a detailed class relating to this balance scorecard. Now see, balance scorecard, it is a strategic management performance metric used to identify and improve various internal business functions and their resulting external outcomes. See, balance scorecard, this particular method, performance appraisal method of balance scorecard, is one method which is completely different from each and every other method, because using this balance scorecard method, you can basically appraise an employee or an entire department or an entire organization. So this particular balance scorecard has that scope. That means you can use, or basically this particular balance scorecard can be used in order to appraise a single employee or a department or an entire organization. Okay, so basically, in a balanced scorecard, the performance of the entire company is listed, and the employee's contribution to the company performance is also indicated. So this method can be used to appraise the individuals, the teams, the business units, and the corporation itself. I told you, right? This balance scorecard has 4 elements. That means, see, basically the balance scorecard basically provides you information relating to 4 different elements. That means if you open a balance scorecard, you will be having 4 different elements. That means you will be having information relating to 4 different aspects or 4 different components relating to the organization. What are those 4? You will be having information relating to the financial part, you will be having information relating to the customers part, you will be having information relating to the process part and the learning part. Okay, so basically you will be having entire information relating to all these things in a single method, performance appraisal method. So if you want to appraise the entire organization, you can consider the entire balance scorecard. If you want to appraise, or if you want to appraise that is an individual, okay, you choose only the individuals part in the entire balance scorecard. So that is what a balance scorecard is, a very powerful tool which can which can be used in order to appraise an individual or a team or a business unit or the entire organization or the corporation itself. Okay, now each of these have sub elements or subunits. Okay, so this is basically today's topic of performance appraisal methods. So basically we have started today's class as the last part of performance management, that is the third part of performance management, where in the first part we have talked everything related to performance management in general. In the second part we concentrated on performance appraisal in in particular, and in today's part we have covered different methods of performance appraisal, telling that there are so many different performance appraisal methods that are used in organizations, and all these different performance appraisal methods are basically categorized into three different groups. The first group is called as trait methods. That means all the methods which completely focus on, or which completely depend on, or which completely use personality characteristics or personality traits. And there is the second group of personal performance appraisal methods which completely depend on, or which completely use behaviors, which are called as behavioral methods. And then you have this group of methods which basically operate, or which basically use results, called as results method. We also told that, see, in this first group, that means in these trait groups, we have different methods, like we have graphic scale rating method or graphic rating scale method. We have mixed standard scale method. We have forced distribution or forced choice method. We told that we will be discussing forced choice method. In some sources we will also be having forced distribution, curve method and all these things. And we also told about SA method. These are the first group of methods which are basically depending on the personality traits, which are called as trait methods. And then we told that there are second group of methods which are called as behavioral methods. And what are the different methods that we have discussed? We discussed something about a critical incident method. We discussed something about BARS, behaviorally anchored rating scale. We discussed something about BOS, behavioral observation scale. And we also discussed about behavioral checklist method, and we concluded that particular group with 360 degrees appraisal, right? And then we moved on to the third group of methods called as the results method, which basically function on results, out of which we learned about a method called as productivity measures. We talked a method called as basically balance scorecard. And we also talked about something called as management by objectives. So basically these are the basic methods, or these are all the methods of performance appraisal that any organization can choose upon its decision or upon its choice. So that has been today's class, and that has been this entire topic of performance management. Let's meet in the next class. Thank you.